Democratic lawmakers are pushing back on Barack Obama after he came out to criticize the Defund the Police slogan. So I'm going to get into my thoughts on this, and I'm also going to show you the reaction from some Democrats. First here, The Hill breaking the story. Obama, you lose people with quote-unquote snappy slogans like Defund the Police. So The Hill writing here, Obama told Peter Hamby, who hosts a Snapchat political show Good Luck America, that those who use the slogan could jeopardize their goals of enacting meaningful reforms for police. Quote, you lost a big audience the minute you say it, which makes it a lot less likely that you're actually going to get the changes you want done, the former president said in an interview scheduled to go live at 6 a.m. on Wednesday. The key is deciding, do you want to actually get something done, or do you want to feel good among the people you already agree with, Obama added. Now, there are going to be a lot of people that agree with Barack Obama here. And I understand. The phrase or the slogan, defund the police, I think can turn off a lot of people. There are different ways to interpret what that means. But here's the issue. Barack Obama is incredibly popular, of course, as the former president. He has a big voice. He has a platform. He could be using that platform, his voice, to inform people about why the slogan exists, to inform people about the amount of death that the black community has seen at the hands of police. He could be discussing the activist roots and what that slogan actually means. Instead, he is using the platform to try and stifle the energy that is coming from the Black Lives Matter movement and defund the police. Now, I know, look, I'm a white guy saying this, saying that Barack Obama is wrong, but I'm sorry, he's wrong. And I have a lot of people I'm going to get to in a second that agree with me here. And number two, the slogan defund the police, even if you think it is too extreme or you think it turns people off, that inherently moves the conversation towards a place where all of a sudden realigning police funds sounds more reasonable. So defund the police, that slogan moves the Overton window to a position where anything to the right of that seems a lot more reasonable. So in fact, it does accomplish the very thing that it sets out to do. It moves the conversation to a place where we can actually discuss what defund the police means, simply realigning police funds, moving some of those funds away from the police. You've seen, I mean, I've covered this countless times where you have police budgets in these cities continue to increase. Meanwhile, there's cuts to education, cuts to healthcare, cuts to infrastructure, cuts to everything else except for the police forces. So defund the police is simply realigning police funds, moving those funds away, many of those funds away from the police into other areas like public health, and dealing with many of these calls that normally go to police, dealing with them in a different way. So say it's a call about a public or a mental health crisis. You have healthcare professionals show up that are not armed with weapons, but show up and they know how to actually deal with that situation, as opposed to it ending with a cop shooting somebody who is mentally ill, which happens all the time. So it moves the Overton window. And Obama's job here is to inform people, and unfortunately, he just simply fell into the trap of attacking activists as opposed to actually informing the public. Now, also, just in terms of it, you know, the idea that it hurts Democrats, I've covered this before, but it's important since we're on the topic to quickly go over this again. Defund the police or Black Lives Matter did not hurt Democrats. In fact, it helped Democrats in the elections, and there's so much data showing this. Just one example here, some Texas elections suggest voters aren't afraid of defunding police. None of the Austin City Council members who voted to cut police funding lost their elections, but a police union vice president who fearmongered about the defund movement did. You also have here, over the summer, voter registration surged during Black Lives Matter protest, study finds. The rise, largely among Democrats and independents, came after a steep decline amid the coronavirus pandemic. So during the Black Lives Matter protests, after George Floyd, there was a surge of people registering to become Democrats to eventually vote in the election. And last bit of data here before I go on to some reaction to Barack Obama. The youth turnout, black youth turnout here. I mean, I can show you several states, but Georgia specifically, 90% of black youth ages 18 to 29 came out to vote for Joe Biden. This is the same base that supports Defund the Police, that are Black Lives Matter activists. So this did not hurt. This kind of turnout, this is what led Joe Biden to winning many counties and many states that he otherwise would have lost, or would have came a lot closer to losing to Donald Trump had the youth not turned out. Now, let me get some reaction from Democratic lawmakers. Congresswoman-elect Cori Bush here, tweeting out, "With all due respect, Mr. President, let's talk about losing people. We lost Michael Brown Jr., we lost Breonna Taylor, we're losing our loved ones to police violence. It's not a slogan, it's a mandate for keeping our people alive. Defund the police." Ilhan Omar here, "We lose people in the hands of police. It's not a slogan, but a policy demand, and centering the demand for equitable investments and budgets for communities across the country gets us progress and safety." Charles Booker, who was a Democratic candidate for the Kentucky Senate, he tweets out here, "We didn't lose Breonna because of a slogan. Instead of conceding this narrative, let's shape our own. It's time we listen to the people, organize, and build coalitions around our own message, and cast a vision that inspires us all to lead for change at the ballot box and beyond." And Ayanna Pressley here, not quoting the story, but clearly she's talking about Barack Obama's comments here, saying, "The murders of generations of unarmed Black folks by police have been horrific. Lives are at stake daily, so I'm out of patience with critiques of the language of activists. Whatever a grieving family says is their truth, and I'll never stop fighting for their justice and healing." Again, this is about informing people. Barack Obama, big voice, massive platform, could have used that platform to discuss why that slogan exists. Even if you don't agree with it, or even if it turns you off, he could have used that platform to discuss why it exists and why, in fact, it moves the conversation to a position where realigning police funds sounds a lot more reasonable. Now, last thing here, commenting on how you lose people with these slogans, Jack Califano tweeting out, "Whereas with Obama, you only lose the Congress, the Senate, the Supreme Court, 800 plus state legislature seats, and 13 governorships." Discussing here how under Barack Obama, he lost over 1,000 seats, including state seats and congressional seats, under Obama's 8 years. So, and that was during a time with no snappy slogans like defund the police to put the blame on. That was simply Democrats not knowing how to organize, not knowing how to generate excitement, not knowing how to utilize the activist base that would vote for them if the Democratic Party actually listened and fought for some of those issues like Medicare for all, like realigning police funds, like a Green New Deal, etc. So, look, Obama has a place. Obviously, he's still very popular as a figure in the Democratic Party, but instead of using his platform to inform people and to push the conversation forward, he's simply using it to stifle activists, and I don't think it's really helping.